She dropped the vows halfway through the sentence and looked right past me like I wasn't even there. Then someone in the back row mouthed 2 words that made her start crying. My name is Brandon. I'm 29, software engineer, and this is the story of how my wedding unraveled during our vows. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I mean, that's what people say, right? Weddings are stressful, sure, but we'd survived the planning together. Vanessa and I. She was my best friend, my partner, my everything. We met 4 years ago at a mutual friends game night, Monopoly of all things, and spent half the night arguing over whether or not free parking gave out cash. She was witty, competitive, stubborn. I was hooked. We moved in together after a year. I proposed after 2. She said yes before I even finished the question. Vanessa is or was a nurse. Compassionate, focused. She held everything together while I drowned in code. We built a life. A quiet one, filled with late-night ramen, road trip playlists, and Sunday mornings spent arguing about which coffee beans tasted less earthy. We were good, solid, and then the wedding day arrived. Everything started out normal. Nerves, laughter, some last-minute lipstick drama with her bridesmaids. I was sweating in a rented tux, triple-checking my vows in the groom's room. My best man Jeremy kept saying I looked like I was going to faint. I felt it too, but nothing prepared me for that moment. Vanessa had just started her vows. I promise to be your friend, your home, your peace, she said. Then her voice cracked. She paused. Everyone smiled politely. We all thought she just needed a second. Then she looked up. Her eyes locked onto someone in the very back row. It was a woman I didn't recognize. She was maybe in her early 40s. Sharp cheekbones. Pale blue dress. Calm. Unmoving. Vanessa's face shifted. She swallowed hard. And the woman mouthed the words again. Tell him. I saw Vanessa's entire body freeze. Like someone had unplugged her. She dropped the vows. Literally, they slipped from her fingers. Everyone leaned in. Murmurs started. I whispered, "Are you okay?" She didn't respond. She just looked at me, tears now streaming down her face, lips trembling like she was fighting off a scream. Then she whispered it, so faint only I could hear. I'm sorry. And then she ran. Right there, in front of 112 people, our parents, friends, my 92-year-old grandmother, Vanessa bolted, dress trailing behind her. Past the altar, down the aisle, out the doors. Everyone turned to look at me, and I just stood there, frozen. I had no idea what had just happened, but I was about to find out. I didn't chase her. I wanted to. Every instinct in me screamed to run after her, to fix it, to pull her back. But something about the way she said, "I'm sorry." It wasn't like she tripped up or panicked. It was like a confession. So I just stood there with 112 guests staring at me and a silence thick enough to choke on. My mom approached first. Brandon, honey, should we? I'm fine, I said, even though I wasn't. Even though I was pretty sure the floor was about to give out under me. Jeremy pulled me aside and whispered, dude, what the hell just happened? I had no answer. The officiant was fumbling with his book, muttering something about postponing the ceremony. Vanessa's maid of honor, Caitlin, had her hands over her mouth like she was holding in a scream. But me? I just kept seeing that woman in blue. Sitting like a statue in the back pew. Mouthing those 2 words. Tell him. She was gone too by the time I looked back. Just gone. The rest of the afternoon was a blur of awkward hugs, half-eaten catering trays, and relatives making up excuses to leave early. The DJ played exactly 1 song, signed, sealed, delivered, before giving up and packing his gear. Vanessa never came back. It took 2 hours to get my tux off. Not because of buttons. Because every time I reached for them, my hands started shaking again. I sat alone in the suite we'd booked for the wedding night. The one with the fireplace and overpriced champagne. I didn't open the bottle. I didn't turn on the fire. I just stared at her bouquet on the floor, petals crushed from where she dropped it mid-run. At 9:13 p.m. I got a text. Vanessa, I'm sorry. I need time. That was it. No call. No explanation. Just 6 words. The next day, I drove to her apartment. Her car was in the lot, but she didn't answer the door. Lights were off. I texted again. Nothing. I called Caitlin, hoping maybe she knew something. She answered but sounded cold. Brandon, maybe just give her space, okay? I don't even know what happened, I said. She looked at someone. Someone mouthed something. Then she ran. Do you know who that woman was? Caitlin went silent. Then, I think you should ask Vanessa. Click. 3 days passed. Then 4. Still no response. On the 5th day, I went through the wedding photos. Yes, the photographer had kept shooting through the chaos and I froze when I found her. The woman in blue. 1 photo caught her perfectly. Sitting, still, calm, eyes locked on Vanessa. I sent the image to Vanessa with 1 message. Who is she? No reply. That night, I drove to my parents' place to clear my head. I brought the photo with me. Showed it to my mom. Her face went pale. Do you know her? I asked. She hesitated. That's Marla. Marla? Vanessa's aunt. On her dad's side. I blinked. I thought her dad was estranged. He is, my mom said. But Marla showed up once before. At a fundraiser. I remember because Vanessa wouldn't speak to her. Why? She said Marla had a habit of stirring things up that didn't need to be stirred. Mom looked at me carefully. Brandon, I don't think that woman came to watch the wedding. I think she came to stop it. Brandon. That's all she said when she saw me outside her building, hood pulled low, face pale like she hadn't slept in days. I hadn't either. But this time I didn't let her walk away. We need to talk, I said. Now. We ended up at this old diner down the street. Vinyl seats, flickering lights, 2 mugs of untouched coffee between us. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I placed my phone between us. Opened the photo. The woman in the blue dress. The one who ruined our wedding with just 2 words. Vanessa stared at it for a long time. Then she said quietly, I didn't know she was going to be there. You looked right at her. I didn't expect her to come. I leaned in. Who is she? No answer. Vanessa. What did she mean by tell him? Her voice was barely a whisper. She thinks I should have told you sooner. Told me what? Another silence. She came to warn you, Vanessa finally said. That's what she does. She finds people and tells them things. Truths they don't want to hear. That's not an answer. She finally looked up at me. You remember how I said I didn't have much family left? That both my parents were gone? I nodded slowly. That wasn't a lie. But it wasn't the whole story either. My stomach dropped. What story? I asked. Vanessa's hands trembled on the coffee mug. Something happened when I was younger. Something I was told to forget. And for a while, I did. But a few years ago, Marla found me again. And she made me remember. I felt my skin prickle. Remember what? She didn't answer. Vanessa. She shook her head. I can't. Not yet. Why? And then her voice broke. Because once I say it, you'll never look at me the same again. I sat back, trying to breathe, trying not to lose it. Does this have to do with us? With why you ran? She nodded. It changes everything, she whispered. I stared at her, the girl I almost married. The girl who ran. The girl who was shaking like she was about to confess to a murder. I loved you, I said. Her eyes filled with tears. I still do, she whispered. That's why I ran. Because love shouldn't be built on something this broken. And just when I thought it couldn't get more twisted, she said. There's something I need to show you. But if I do, you have to promise you'll let me explain. All of it. Even if it makes you want to walk away forever. I followed her without speaking. We left the diner. Walked 2 blocks in silence. She led me into a narrow building, some kind of storage facility. Keypad, security cameras. I hadn't even known it was there. Unit 207, she said. I rented it 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Before the wedding. She punched in the code. Metal door rolled open. Inside, just a table. A single plastic bin. A folder on top. Vanessa stepped aside. It's all in there. I opened the folder. Documents. Photocopies. Medical forms. Old photographs. At first glance, nothing made sense. 2 hospital records. Different names. Dates that matched. Locations that didn't. I flipped to a black and white photo. 2 infants. Swaddled. Tagged. Then I hit a page that made my chest tighten, handwritten notes with circled names. One of them was mine. I looked up. What is this? She didn't answer. Vanessa. What is this? She swallowed hard. Evidence. Of what? She shut her eyes. Of why we were never supposed to meet. I backed up. Hands shaking. You're not making sense. I didn't want this, she said quickly. I didn't know when we met. I swear. But once I found out, I tried to ignore it. I thought maybe it wasn't real. You knew what, Vanessa? She pointed at the folder. My mother lied to me. For years. And then Marla came. And she brought that. I flipped back through the pages faster now. Trying to find a word, a line, anything that would explain. Then I found one. Patient A. Marlene Cross. Infant released to adoptive guardians. Patient B. Claire Dempsey. Infant discharged to family custody. I knew both those names. One was Vanessa's mother. The other was mine. Wait, I said, voice cracking. Why is my mother's name in this? Vanessa looked at me, tears sliding down her cheek. Because this isn't just about me. It's about both of us. My whole body went cold. She stepped forward, slow, like approaching a wounded animal. There's more, she said. I'll show you. But you have to promise not to run. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. Promise me, Brandon. I don't even know what I'm looking at, I said. You will. And when you do, just remember I didn't ask for this either. Suddenly, everything clicked in my head. The matching dates. The baby tags. The hospital. Tell him. This wasn't a love story anymore. It was a cover-up. I sat in my car for 30 minutes after leaving that storage unit. Folder in my lap. Engine off. Heart racing so hard it felt like the seatbelt was the only thing keeping me together. The names. The dates. It all lined up. 2 babies. Same hospital. Same day. Swapped. One became Brandon Dempsey. The other became Vanessa Cross. And the woman in blue, Marla, she knew the truth the whole time. I drove home and locked the folder in my desk drawer. Didn't touch it for a day. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Then I called my mom. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual. What hospital was I born in again? She hesitated. Why? No reason. Just curious. You were born at St. Meredith's in Portland, she said quickly. Too quickly. That's not what the file said. The file said I was born at Columbia Ridge Medical in Salem. Same as Vanessa. Thanks, I mumbled. Brandon? Is everything okay? I'll call you later. I didn't. Instead, I called Marla. I'd gotten her number off one of the medical forms. No idea if it was still active. She answered on the second ring. I was wondering when you'd call, she said, voice like gravel wrapped in silk. Why'd you come to the wedding? I asked. To give her one last chance. To tell me? Yes. Tell me what, exactly? She was silent for a beat. You already know. You just need to believe it now. The next day, I met Vanessa again. Same diner. Same booth. She looked exhausted. Like she hadn't slept since the ceremony. I brought the folder. Dropped it on the table. You want to tell me now? She nodded. I called my mom after we talked. And? She finally admitted it. Said they didn't know at first. Said it was a mix-up. A nurse noticed something hours after discharge, but they didn't report it. Why not? Because they were scared. My mom had a breakdown after I was born. Her words. She said I couldn't go through losing another child. So when the tags didn't match, they kept it quiet. I gripped the table. So she raised someone else's baby. Me. And your mom raised you. Vanessa nodded. I'm not your cousin, she said. I'm not your sister. But I was supposed to be your neighbor. You're parallel. I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. We're not related. No. Biologically, no. But legally, the records say otherwise. Which means if we'd gotten married, it could have triggered an investigation. Or worse. She looked down. That's why she came. Marla. She's been chasing the truth for years. Said the hospital buried the switch. Quiet payouts. No headlines. I ran my hands through my hair. This is insane. I know. We were supposed to fall in love, Vanessa. No, she said softly. We were supposed to never meet. We sat in silence for what felt like an hour. Then I asked, what now? She hesitated. That's up to you. Do you still love me? I said. She blinked. Of course I do. Then why'd you run? She looked at me, and this time there was no tearful breakdown, no shaking voice. Only a kind of calm resignation. Because I loved you enough not to lie. It's been 3 months since the wedding that never happened. 3 months since the words "tell him" shattered everything I thought I knew. And I still replay it all, frame by frame. The aisle. The tears. Her voice cracking. The woman in blue. Every morning I wake up and check my phone for a text I know won't come. Every night I open the folder again, rereading the documents as if they might magically change. They don't. I haven't seen Vanessa since the last time at the diner. After she said what she said, because I loved you enough not to lie, she stood up, gave me a sad smile, and walked out. She didn't wait for me to follow. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't cry. It was like she knew some breaks don't get fixed. Some truths are too heavy to carry into a future. For a while, I told no one. Not my parents. Not Jeremy. Not my therapist. The file stayed in my drawer like a sleeping ghost. But eventually, I cracked. I called my mom. Asked her to come over. Just her. She brought soup. Like I had the flu. She didn't know I was about to blow up both our lives. I laid out the documents on the kitchen table. All of them. Hospital records. Birth photos. The original swap report Marla helped dig up from a whistleblower nurse who'd written everything down but never filed it. My mom stood there for a long time staring. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. She just sat down, folded her hands, and said, "So you found it." That sentence told me everything. She'd known. Maybe not from the beginning, but long enough to build a lie around it. She said it happened when I was around too. There were questions raised by a pediatrician. Small things, blood type inconsistencies, development markers. My mom pushed for a test. Quietly. Off the record. And the results came back. The boy she'd raised wasn't biologically hers. But by then she said, "You were already mine." I couldn't speak. I just stared at her. She reached out, but I flinched. Not on purpose, it was instinct. And it broke her. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. I just couldn't let go. You were everything. And if I said something, I might lose you. So I stayed quiet. I buried it. We all did. We almost got married, Mom. She nodded, eyes full of tears. I know. So here I am, 29 years old. Raised by the wrong family. Loved by the right woman in the wrong lifetime. I've read articles about babies switched at birth. They usually end in lawsuits or awkward holiday visits. But ours almost ended in a marriage license. I saw Vanessa once more. Briefly. A few weeks ago, I was at a bookstore downtown grabbing coffee. She walked in. Didn't see me at first. She looked better. Lighter, somehow. We locked eyes. She smiled. I didn't know what to do. Wave? Pretend not to see her? Fall apart? She walked over. Hi, she said. Hi. We stood there in silence again, like we'd used up all our words. How are you? I asked. Better, she said. You. Getting there. She looked at the paperback in my hand. Some thriller. Still reading trash, I see. I chuckled. Still judging people in the checkout line, I see. That made her laugh. And for a moment, it was just us again. Like none of it had happened. Then she said, you know, if we'd met under different circumstances. I know. She nodded. It was real, Brandon. All of it. I know, I said. That's what makes it hurt. We didn't exchange numbers. Didn't say we'd catch up. She just hugged me once, soft and warm, and left. This time, I didn't try to stop her. Because some love stories don't need a second chapter. They just need a graceful ending. So here's my ending. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm just learning. Learning who I am without the name I grew up with. Learning that love can be true even if it's temporary. Learning that sometimes the right thing feels exactly like heartbreak. I don't know what comes next. Maybe I'll meet someone else. Maybe one day I'll laugh about this. But today, I'm just proud I didn't look away when the truth showed up in a blue dress and whispered, tell him. She did. And I listened. And I let her go.